This building behind me has been the source of much pain and many sleepless nights for the last few months. The Artisan HQ is finally built out, and in today's video, I'm going to tell you all my final thoughts, all of the mistakes and the regrets that I've got, but also some of the things that I'm proud of with this building. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and let's get into it. Now, I'll be honest, there's a few little finishing touches still to make, but in general, we're pretty much done here, and we've been moved in for about a month now. But I haven't shown you guys around yet, so come on in, let me show you. So this is the lovely reception area, quite different to when we first bought the place. And we've got a bit of artwork here on the wall of some of our proud installs that we've done. Now, we've got two options. We can go left to the studio or right to the warehouse. Which one do you want to do first? I'll save the studio for later because that's quite saucy. Let's go through to the workshop. These unified door access things are one thing that I'm pretty proud of. It's such a cool system. And also the lights, they just come on and they just work. So in here, please excuse the mess because it's still a little bit chaotic. We've got stores and a workshop. Now, we had this amazing bunker stuff fitted by the guys from Garage Style. I did want to get the full floor done by them as well, but we didn't quite have the budget for it. We've already massively blown the budget on this project, so we might have to say that for another time. Also, here's our stores. Now, again, this is a work in progress, but the idea is to have all the materials that we use a lot compartmentalized into different boxes and things with labels so we can scan in and out stock. We're still working on our stock management system, so we might do an update video for you guys at some point on that, but let me know in the comments if you know of any good stock management systems. Obviously our lovely batteries and our full backup system with solar, and these lights hopefully will just come on. We've got our pallet storage here. And at the moment, there's a ton of Tesla Powerwall 2s that we're storing and some 𝐿𝐴 batteries because we've actually had quite a few customers ask us to remove old batteries and put in 𝐒𝐮 Energy batteries, which is quite fun. The plant room, I've already shown you in that sort of data video. So I'll come on to this because I do have some regrets about this. For example, that is a complete mess still. But the distribution boards and everything look pretty nice. So everything is kind of all done in these boards. It's all nice and labelled and everything. Got our LOX one stuff. We've even got a test socket for our electricians to do their calibration and test their testers regularly, so that's good. And then here's the rack, which I'm sorry I've still not finished, but we're nearly there with it. So that's the plant room. Let's go and see the offices and I'll show you the studio right at the end, and then I'll talk to you about some of the mistakes that I've made here and some of the lessons that I've learned. Now, you'll remember that this floor before looked quite different. Welcome. And this is what it's like now. So this is the open plan office area with our office beavers working away. It's a little bit quiet in here today because we've got a few people off, but it's such a lovely space to work in, and that is one of the things that I'm really proud about this place. Is it's just such a nice place to work. It's such a nice atmosphere. Everyone seems to be really happy to work here anyway, so that's cool. But yeah, what a transformation from the carpenter's workshop that was here before. We'll show you some clips of before and after. And then here we've got our collaborative space. So this is where everyone sits and has their lunch. We have team meetings around here. And then our kitchen with a lovely coffee machine. And then the meeting room.
Welcome, Jordan.
Haha, I love that. This is the meeting room where we have meetings with clients. We have private team meetings. We have interviews with new staff members. We have all sorts of meetings in here. Now, one thing I like here is we've got like this little viewing sort of deck, you know, so you can look down on the roller shutter, see what's going on down below. So if the guys are loading stuff on and off of their vans or anything like that, you know, we can just glance down and see what's going on, which is quite nice. It's sort of, all of the light in this space is something that I really like, and the fact that there's so many windows, there's so much light, so much natural light, it just adds to the vibe of the place, which is really cool. But down here is one of the coolest features, and it's been quite a job to get it finished, let me tell you that.
Welcome.
Welcome to the studio. So you'll have seen this evolving over time because I've mentioned the studio quite a lot in the whole playlist of videos. We've done about 15 videos across this entire series, and I'll leave a link to the playlist up here if you haven't watched all of those videos, because it's quite cool to see step by step the whole build and all of the challenges that we faced here. But one of the biggest challenges was this studio and getting it right. So let's have a sit down and I'll talk to you about some of my regrets. So I'll talk to you about cost in a bit, because obviously with me mentioning that we went massively over budget on this project, you're probably wondering how I feel about that. But what else do I regret about the way that I've done this place? As with everything in life, you can always learn things when you look back in hindsight, and I've certainly learned a ton of stuff about business and life doing this project, because it was a completely new thing for me. I've never owned a property before. I've never even owned my own home, never mind a commercial building like this. So the first regret, I would say, is probably the most obvious one, and that is not securing the building properly when we first moved in. So if you don't know, let me explain what happened. We got broken into only about 2 to 3 weeks after the start of the project, and they rammed in the front door and basically took a load of stuff. And there is a whole separate video about that, so I'm not going to bore you with the details. Watch the video up here if you want to see exactly what happened. But it was a very stressful time, as you can imagine, because they took a lot of stuff that we needed for the project. It obviously delayed the start of the project as well, because we were in full swing of construction at that time, and it really did throw a spanner in the work. And we've still not been paid out by the insurance. It's over 3 months since the burglary happened. They have given us a settlement offer now, so hopefully that money will come through soon. A lesson that I've learned from that whole thing is, number one, never take security lightly, particularly on construction sites when it's kind of obvious if there's a skip outside and vans coming and going that work is going on, and people who have bad intentions will take advantage of that, and they certainly did here. It's only stuff at the end of the day. Nobody was hurt, which is great, but ultimately it has caused me a lot of stress and sleepless nights. And if I'd have just been a bit more careful about security at the start and put those cameras up that I had delayed putting up, and maybe 1 or 2 other security measures, it might not have happened. So big lesson for me, that absolutely never take security for granted. Another regret that I have is buying these stupidly expensive 𝐒𝐮 counters that don't work properly. They keep going blank every time. So I need you to follow, and then if we focus really hard, something might happen. That's better. Thanks for following. Number 2 is something that I've spoken about a few times throughout the project, and it's just the fact that we didn't do all of the work ourselves. We weren't able to. We had great help from a team of subcontractors to do most of the electrics, and it always felt a little bit uncomfortable, that for me, because I just felt like we're electricians who should be doing the fit out of our own HQ. In hindsight, it was the right decision to get subcontractors in so that we could focus on getting the money in, because we had some really good projects over the summer that we got finished because our team of electricians were out there working on those projects that have brought in the money to help to pay towards this project. But it still just stings a little bit. As it was, I really project managed it, and I was a bit of a control freak and a bit of a nightmare to work with, I think. So hats off to the guys at Residual for putting up with me, because I made a lot of changes along the way, and that's probably my third regret, is just a lack of planning in general. Everything up to the point of getting the keys here seemed to take quite a long time. So to give you a bit of a timeline on this whole thing, it was about 7, nearly 8 months from actually getting our offer accepted to getting the keys to this place. And that seemed to drag on. There were so many solicitors involved. There was a lot of like legal hoops to jump through, and obviously mortgage approvals and all of that stuff. So that took ages. And then as soon as we got the keys, it just seemed to absolutely fly here. We actually moved in on the 9th of October. So it was basically 3 months from starting the fit out to actually moving in, which when you consider all of the hurdles and the challenges that we faced, I think that's pretty good actually in terms of the timescale of getting this place fitted out. But because it was so rushed, I was really kind of thinking on the fly. We did have plans from our building contractor before we started the work. So there was a general overview of what was going on, but to be honest, the biggest thing that was missing really was the plans for the electrics, because I kind of figured that we'll just kind of figure it out as we go along. I knew a rough idea of what I wanted, but as we got deeper and deeper into the project, I kept adding more stuff, more circuits, more data points. You've seen probably from the data video, I went way overboard with all the data stuff here, which I don't necessarily regret, but if I'd have just decided to do that further in advance, it probably would have saved quite a lot of last minute changes and decisions that actually added to the cost and the timing of the project. For example, cabling. There were so many times where I thought we were finished in a room and then it was like, oh no, there's 2 more cables that we need to add. You know, I don't know how many miles of cables there are in this building, but there are a lot of miles of cables in this building. And mainly it's because I did a lot of redundancy and a lot of doubling up of cabling and everything, and it seemed to never end. So that's one of my regrets, is maybe just not spending enough time planning and researching beforehand. I'm a perfectionist and I wanted everything to be perfect, but I didn't actually have enough time to really delve deep into every single element of the project to know how to do it perfectly. So I was sort of trying to figure it out on the fly, if that makes sense. And I'm happy with the result overall. That's the main thing. The detail in this place is amazing, which is what I really wanted. The fourth regret I have is one that might surprise you. It's actually to do with our solar install here. If you haven't seen it, we fitted 60 solar panels on the roof of this building. We basically tried to max out the amount of solar that we could get on the roof. And obviously it's a no-brainer because that's what we do for our daily work. It's our day in, day out, fitting solar panels, battery storage systems. But this roof was, to be honest, one that we've never done before, and it's called a barreled roof, which it's just a very unusual shape because it's barreled like that. So it's like a dome almost. And the orientation is weird of this roof. It's not east-west, it's not north-south, it's sort of skewed. And what that means is that the way the sun falls on the roof throughout the day is very odd. I did the stringing of the panels from front to back in long lines, so we had 4 strings from front to back, just because it sort of made sense from a wiring point of view. But what that means is that the panels get sun at one part of the day on the front end of the string, but the back end of the string doesn't get direct sunlight. And although the system is generating a really good amount of energy, even now at this time of year when it's quite dark outside and it's, you know, winter basically, I do feel like if we fitted optimizers on each panel, we probably would be getting a better output, because it is a 60 panel system after all. It's 33 kilowatt peak, but often we're only getting a few kilowatts at this time of year of generation, and I feel like maybe the stringing is holding us back slightly. Ultimately, the system's generating a great amount of energy, so I'm not too worried, but I feel like we could have done it slightly better by just fitting some optimizers in this particular case. But as I say, it was just such a weird roof. Very hard to actually do the performance modeling on a roof like this because it's really non-standard. I keep thinking of more regrets, and this studio is one of the regrets that I have, is being naive to how difficult it is to soundproof a room. So as you can see, our media team, the Artisan Motion team, have been super busy in here putting all of these acoustic panels everywhere. We did put acoustic tiles in the ceiling, but actually what we didn't think about is this. That goes all the way through to the offices above, and of course it transfers sound. Getting this place soundproofed has been a bit of a challenge, and we've still not quite done it. We're nearly there, but we actually need to wrap these with insulation and fabric. And also, I regret that green wall because actually it was a stupid idea. It was one of those, like, I guess I just got really carried away with the idea of having a really cool green wall, but then we quite quickly realised afterwards we never actually really use a green screen in our videos. So I think we're going to end up covering that with something else, but it was a fun idea. You know, that paint is actually Netflix paint, believe it or not. They invented that, Dulux invented that colour for Netflix, so it's pretty cool. Now I have a bonus regret that I want to share with you, which is I bought a robot vacuum cleaner. And I have this really annoying regret that is the fact that I've not been able to set it up and use it yet. I had this amazing idea of having it running around in the workshop and cleaning the floors of the workshop, but the reality is there's so much stuff in there, so many obstacles, and actually there's always going to be the odd screw lying around and things like that, that I don't think it's suitable for the workshop. And upstairs in the office area, again, I'm not sure whether it's suitable for a robot vacuum cleaner because there's so many desks and chairs and cables and things like that. Ultimately, we've had to pay cleaners, which cost a small fortune, believe it or not, to pay cleaners to come several times a week to clean the building out of hours. And I really liked the idea of just having a robot doing a lot of that work for us.
Paul, no win, no fee.
Yeah, that was close. That could have killed me, actually. This thing just collapsed as I was about to pull out the robot vacuum cleaner to show you guys. So here it is. I've always wanted a robot vacuum cleaner. Now we've got one. Not sponsored by Dyson, I must add, unfortunately. I wish it was. We're gonna crack it out and just give it a go up here in the office because, well, why not? You know, we've bought it, so might as well try and use it. Oh, look at that, that looks pretty cool. So that goes like that. Can you tell I love technology? We'll soon be replacing all of our employees with robots and then we won't even need this building anymore. Tom's practically a robot anyway. He is a machine, as we say. It's surprisingly intuitive. Grid bearing to map. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, that is amazing. Wow, I love it. But what you want to know about is how much did we spend on this place? Well, actually, I suppose I could say that that is a regret that I have, is that I definitely way underestimated how much it costs to fit out a building like this. So just to give you an overview, my original estimate for the budget of fitting out this place was £100,000. That's fine. We've got the money there, ready to go, no problem. Do you think we managed to do it for 100,000? No chance. I'm not going to tell you exactly how much we spent here, but believe me when I say it's in the hundreds of thousands. So yeah, it's cost a lot more than I expected. And probably that's partly because I'm such a perfectionist and every time I had an option, I always chose the best option. We could have definitely done it on a tighter budget, but my motto here was do it once, do it properly, and try to avoid having regrets about quality. And actually, to be fair, all of these regrets that I've got now, they're not really regrets about the quality. They may be just the regrets about doing things slightly differently. But ultimately, I'm really pleased with the quality of this place. I am pleased with how quickly we managed to get in here. And it's exactly what we needed. It gives us the space to grow. It gives us a really nice space for our team to work and collaborate on projects. It gives us space to organize our materials and streamline our process when it comes to doing the installations that we do. And it really ticks all the boxes of what we were looking for in a HQ. I'm super grateful for the fact that we found this place. I think it's worked out really well, although it has been an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. But I'd love to know if you've enjoyed following us on this journey and if there's anything else you'd like to know about what we've learned from this place or any elements of the build that we've not showcased enough that you'd like to see. So let us know all of your thoughts in the comments below. But we just really want to thank you for all of your support and for following our channel this year. It's been quite a journey and there's plenty more to come. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We'll see you on the next one.